Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Rhami Aboud with us today. He's CEO at Arch Web Design. His mission is to help SaaS companies make a bigger impact. He's a top Webflow expert. I was on Webflow, still is, I think. Going to talk about websites today, SEO, if it's still a thing, paid ads, UX, and the impact of GPT into all of that. This podcast is brought to you by podfire.com. That is my podcasting agency. If you want to start and monetize a podcast through YouTube AdSense, sponsors, or lead generation, you can go to podfire.com. We have a free ebook and a masterclass there. Rhami, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Cool. Thanks, Charles. Thanks for having me on here. Basically, my background is in UX design. I was a UX designer for over a decade, and I always wanted to start my own business. I wanted to be a digital nomad, kind of like you, like traveling in Oaxaca and all that stuff. So I did that. I lived like the digital nomad life. I started my own business back then as well. This was about 8 years ago, and we're still going strong today. So right now, basically the agency, what we do is we're a website agency and marketing agency for SaaS companies. So we specifically help SaaS companies scale. And in 2025, we're adding a mission-driven piece to it. So that's something that's really been on my heart for a while, is not only making money, like of course making money is great and it's cool, but we also want to make a bigger impact. So this year moving forward, we're helping not only SaaS companies, but mission-driven companies as well. So nonprofits, NGOs, for-profits as well, as long as they support like a good mission. And some things are like, child hunger, homelessness. Those are like missions that we can really get behind. So that's kind of where we're expanding into 2025, is to add that mission-driven component.
And what did you get out of your digital nomad life?
A lot. So I did the digital nomad life for about 5 or 6 years. I was really lucky to be able to travel all across the world. Basically, I got my agency out of it, number one. So when I started traveling, like I was a freelancer, I had just quit my job. I didn't know how to make money on my own. And so there were some months where I didn't know how I was going to pay for my apartment or my rent that month. But through going through all that stuff, I was able to figure out how to get clients and how to do all that. So yeah, basically figured out how to do marketing over those 8 years, which was really helpful. And just being able to see the world, like that's, I think that's self-explanatory. That's worth so much more than I could ever, hope for, and really grateful for that. And as well as, I think the most important thing is all the connections I made, all the people I met. So those things are, in my opinion, the most important thing.
And the impact-driven stuff, how did it came about, and how will you make sure that it's successful? Because not all nonprofits or mission-driven companies are efficient. Not all of them are like tech forward, right? So how will you actually make that successful?
Yeah, so how did it come about? First of all, that's been on my heart for a long time. I just didn't know what to do with it. Like I always felt like, when I started the agency, I just was trying to figure out how to make money and how to get by. And then once we got to that place, which I'm very grateful to have gone to it, now like I was searching for more fulfillment and something more deep and more valuable and more helpful to people. I've always wanted to help people. So that's kind of where it came from. And to answer your second question, yes, a lot of these mission-driven companies are not super tech forward, like you said. And that's where we can come in and help them streamline and become more profitable if that's their mission, or to reach a bigger impact. So basically our goal for them is to help them make a bigger impact. That's where we can come in, be their like tech partner and their strategist partner to, come up with these strategies on how to make a bigger impact, or how to make money and be profitable so that they can, continue to make the impact that they want.
And isn't the nonprofits model flawed via the modern social startup? Isn't like not making money, not making profits, going against the full capitalistic system if you want to be impactful and achieve your goal of helping people?
Yeah. In a way, it is. Yes. So for us, like we had to define what mission driven means. Like, who do we want to work with? So for us, yes, we do want to work with nonprofits, but we also believe that you can make an impact while being for profit, and I think that's the more sustainable way of doing it. So to your point, we want to kind of dispel this myth that you have to be a nonprofit to make an impact. That's definitely not true, and we believe that it's not as sustainable. So our ideal partners are people who are for profit, are sustainable while also making that big impact. So, to answer your question, yes, I agree.
And making websites, right? It's kind of boring. UX is fascinating to me. Have you got bored with like the website side of things, but got obsessed with the UX side of it?
Um, I wouldn't say bored. I would say there's definitely a bigger frontier there. So where we really specialize is, like, my background is in UX design. Like I love designing and being creative. Like that's fun for me and always will be. I don't do as much of that anymore. Just as a function of being a CEO, you have to kind of manage the entire company. So that's where I'm at right now. But our company has kind of evolved. Yeah, we started off just making like really beautiful websites, and we evolved into looking more into conversion rate optimization. So how do you get more sales or get more leads out of those websites? So we dove into like user psychology, which is a big piece of conversion rate optimization, and so that's kind of how we've evolved. We kind of meld the design and the conversion rate optimization. So like the data plus the design, put that in together into like one package to make a website that looks amazing and converts and brings you more sales, basically, or leads.
And you have the conversion parts in your hand, but I guess that's intimately related with generating leads. What's your favorite method of generating leads nowadays? Is it cold outreach? Is it SEO? How do you get these qualified website visitors?
Yeah, it really depends on the business. For our agency personally, SEO has been the biggest driver of traffic. So I would recommend pretty much any business start with SEO. It's organic, it's the most sustainable, and it's like a snowball. Like, it's going to start slow, it takes time, but once it gets rolling and big, then it's very organic and sustainable traffic, which is the best kind of traffic in my opinion, because they're searching for you. So if they're searching, they already are problem aware. Therefore, it's going to be much easier to sell them. So you can be, a shitty salesman, and your conversion rate is going to be higher than if you're just reaching out to cold traffic. So that's, I think, also a big piece of it, is like, how well can you sell them on this thing once you have that traffic. So, and if you're just going to ask me point blank, SEO is the number one. Of course, it depends on factors. We've also tried a lot of different things. We do cold email campaigns, paid ads. I think those are the top three: SEO, cold email, and paid ads in general. They all can work very well if you do them properly. So those are, in my opinion, the top three right now.
Right, because SEO, I've had the opposite happen to me, in which I'm a cold outreach guy, I'm a
Right.
Facebook ads guy. Facebook ads, back in days, I wouldn't get that many qualified leads, but cold outreach, it's so detailed, right? In the B2B niche, you can target their title, their
Yeah.
funding, their revenue. So people that respond yes to my email, they're hella qualified. SEO, I would get like, yes, people that were interested in solving that problem, but people that did not have the budget, right? Like, and people almost on the fringe of B2C. I target B2B. So I don't know, people working, a realtor, a mortgage broker, a cook, so not really qualified people. Maybe the problem here was that the articles that I indexed, that I SEO'd on my website, they weren't precise enough. They didn't have the keyword of, I don't know, B2B CEOs. What do you think was my problem here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. It's really hard to say, but the most common issues that we see in SEO is, like you said, not targeting the right keywords, and then not having like the proper funnel. So once you do get that traffic, sending them through a funnel. So it's not just like, okay, go to my blog post, read it, and then they're going to become a lead. there has to be an incentive or a reason for them to become a lead. Like you can offer various things like a free call or some sort of lead magnet, whatever it might be. And then also pre-qualifying them as well. So I'm sure you know this, but pre-qualifying is super important. We had the same problem as well. Like we were getting a lot of shitty leads. And so, adding a pre-qualifying process in there was very beneficial, but also getting them on a call and being able to sell them on why you're better than the other guy or why you'll bring an ROI to them. I think they all go hand in hand. It's not just like one thing, like the whole ecosystem is a piece of it. And so if there's a leak in one part, then it's all going to fall apart. So there's a lot of nuance to it.
And your agency, typically, what do you charge for a website? What are your packages, and who's your very ideal customer persona apart from nonprofits and mission-driven?
Yeah, great question. So, so if we're looking at the SaaS vertical, so the ideal SaaS company that we work with are somewhere in the mid-range. So they're on, let's say, they already have a website or that they created really fast and it's not working for them. So they're looking to upgrade and having a high converting website that looks more professional and better. So that's one. Typically in the 20 to 50 employee range, they've raised some sort of funding in the past, whether it's a seed round or more. So that's kind of the ideal client in terms of SaaS. And in terms of the mission driven, that one we're kind of still figuring out because, like I said, it's something relatively new that we started experimenting with in the last few months. We're still kind of toying with the mission driven ones right now, seeing which ones I do.
What do you charge? What's your LTV?
What do we charge? Yeah. So for a brand new website, like design, development, everything from scratch, copy, images. So it really depends on the size, but we typically start around $15K US for a full website.
And you run on a roster of like 20 clients a year or something like that?
So how many clients a year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we typically are working with 4 to 5 at any given time, depending on. So I would say closer to
50.
Closer to like 50. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. What challenges have you faced? Because it seems like it's a pretty stable business. Do sometimes you want something like more challenging or?
I wouldn't. I mean, yes, I love a challenge personally. I would say I want more fulfillment and more impact, which is kind of why we're doing this mission-driven stuff. So I think anything new comes new challenges with it. So yes, it's great, but I'm not necessarily searching for the challenge. I'm searching for the impact. That would be like our focus.
Right. I saw your Backstreet Boys post not so long ago, so. And it's like
Sure.
I had some Backstreet Boys songs playing my head. So what was that
nice.
about in Cancun? And yeah, how do you make entrepreneurship less lonely?
Yeah. So I went to. I'm a huge Backstreet Boy fan, obviously, and I appreciate that you brought that up. So they had like a 30th anniversary thing in Cancun last April. And it's a 4-day event, all-inclusive resort, like a bunch of concerts. Anyways, basically, I decided the day of that I wanted to go. Like I'd been thinking about it, but I couldn't get anyone to go with me. Nobody would come. So the day of, I just woke up and I booked the ticket and I went. So yeah, that was fun. I was actually nearby in Cancun, near to you, I think.
It's like 15 hours away. But
Oh, okay, other side. My bad. So yeah, that's what that was. And then your second question was how to make more entrepreneurship less lonely. That's one that I've been working on a lot this past year. I'm sure like you get it. I've been trying just to focus on getting out more, going to WeWork, going to cafes to work because staying at home, you're not putting yourself out there, and then just going to more events where I can meet people, not necessarily like networking or business events, but just events and like activities that I enjoy. Like in the summer, I was doing a lot of, workout clubs, running clubs, things like that. And yeah, just being very intentional about it. Like it's very easy to isolate yourself and then you don't want to go out and it's harder. you have to spend more energy to go out and start talking to people and all that. But you have to be very intentional about just getting out and not isolating and not, getting stuck in that same old routine.
Yeah, well, Montreal, Montreal winters, people
Yeah.
are often inside, and it's one of the
Yeah.
main reasons why I travel down to Mexico for more vitamin D and more life, I guess, to quote Drake on that one. I've
Yeah.
tried
Don't blame me.
meetings with entrepreneurs. I have a mastermind that's called level96.com. We actually made an edition in Montreal last time I was there.
Oh,
Went to a
cool.
sauna in Bota Bota. It was pretty
Oh,
fun.
cool. Yeah.
And yeah, the sauna experience and the ice and hot is pretty fun, for connection, because it's hard and you get in different states, right? We're often in our shell, but once you jump in an iceful river, we get to see a
The
different part.
dopamine. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cortisol and the
Yeah.
adrenaline and
Yeah.
all of that, and then the relaxation in the saunas. But yeah, it's a hard one. I've went to see a couple of entrepreneurial friends this year. My main hack for this is this podcast. So use it as a front end funnel. Then these podcasting guests become clients, then clients become friends, and then you can physically meet them. I think that's an amazing funnel to meet more people, because here in Oaxaca there's not that many other founders and entrepreneurs. I want to
Really?
ask you, this podcast is coming to an end. What are your top personal goal for this year? Do you have like fitness routines or habits that you're nurturing to become more productive, become more happy this year?
Yeah, for sure. Like my fitness has always been relatively on point, so like that's something that I don't really focus on as much anymore. Like it just happens. But my main goals in 2025 are to foster more connections through community and more like in-person events. Like I'm quite frankly sick of just being on Zoom all day, which I'm sure a lot of us can understand. So more in-person stuff, more connection, and then more impact. So impact and connection are like the two keywords. Just trying to help people more, and fostering that impact as much as I can, and fostering community. Those are what I'm looking for.
Love it. And where can we find out more about you, Rhami?
Yeah, sure. You can check me out on LinkedIn or Instagram. My handle is Rhami_AX. So yeah, feel free. If anyone has anything, send me a message. If you just want to connect, or anyone in Montreal, you want to meet up for a coffee, I'd be happy to.
That was Rhami Aboud.